Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. Brothers and sisters and our guests, thank you for attending today. This is an open question and answer session, and it gives us great pleasure to welcome Steve and Tim's MP for our area here in the mosque. We, as a mosque, Masjid Bilal, we are not affiliated to any political party. We are neutral in this aspect, and it gives us great pleasure to welcome the MP sitting for today. And of course, we welcome any other parties that wish to discuss with our community the issues that are relevant. So many of you will be familiar with Stephen. Stephen's been an MP in this area since around 1994, over 20 years now. He has apparently one of the most safest seats in the country, with a majority. I think he won his last election by about with 70% of the votes, so a staggering majority. But it's to his credit that even still, with that large majority, he's always been trying to hear from the community and try to be involved and hear their thoughts. He's held various ministerial positions in terms of Finance Secretary for the Treasury, and currently I believe he's the Shadow Minister for State Pension and Employment, I believe. Employment. And of course he's been very active in terms of the Labour Party. He's the Faith Envoy and the Chair for the Christians on the left. We've also been joined here by Unmesh Desai, who is the Councillor for this particular ward in East Ham. He's been a councillor since 2002, and he's also the Cabinet Member in charge of crime and antisocial behaviour, and the Labour Group Vice Chair as well. So we will hear from the candidates, and we hope you have questions. In terms of the format and just some housekeeping issues, we do ask you first of all to switch off your mobile phones. If you do have a question, then we will allow questions both in written format and from the floor. Please do raise your hands at the appropriate time. As soon as we can, we will get to you, ask your questions. We do ask you to please permit the speakers to be able to complete their answer in an appropriate manner, and then if you have any follow-up questions, then time permitting, we will try and allow that to happen. For our female guests and women who are upstairs, they've got a live projection there. They're more than welcome to answer their questions in a written format, as we don't have a roaming mic available, and then we'll try and answer that as best as we can. And we hope to finish in around 45 minutes to an hour by about 3 p.m. Inshallah. So we hope to try and get as many questions in as possible. But we'll ask for Stephen just to say a few minutes at the beginning, and then we'll try and take some questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll stand for you. Okay, if I may. Sure. Well, friends, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for inviting me and my colleagues, Councillor Unmesh Desai, Councillor Obed, to join you today. I'm delighted to see so many of you here. Thank you for organising it all so well and putting the posters up and publicising it, and I'm looking forward to a good discussion. I'm very happy, all of us will be very happy to talk about anything that you might want to raise. As has been mentioned, I'm particularly interested, I'm the Labour Party Faith Envoy, I'm particularly interested about the link between religious faith on the one hand and politics on the other. I'm the chair of an organisation called on the left. In that capacity, I attended the launch the other week in the House of Commons of this document, which some of you might have seen, the MEND Muslim Manifesto 2015. There are a number of issues set out here. You might want to raise some of those with me. But I think that I just wanted to begin by mentioning one particular issue, which seems to me to be, in a way, to sum up the choice that is ahead for Britain come the general election on the 7th of May. And it's this. I think if you look at what's happened to young people over the last 5 years, young people in Britain have had a pretty raw deal. You know, in 2010, we used to pay education maintenance allowances to young people who were studying in the sixth form. That was abolished by the new government when they came in. As you know, some of the candidates in the Liberal Democrat Party had all pledged to support the abolition of tuition fees before 2010. When they were elected in 2010, they almost immediately voted in favour of tripling tuition fees. And as I've talked to young people over the last few years, a lot of young people feel really, really desperately let down by what happened about tuition fees. And it now costs £9,000 a year to attend for higher education. And then there's a whole range of other issues. And, you know, for people of my kind of age and others perhaps who are here, in your 20s and your 30s in this area, it was realistic to hope that you might be able to buy a home for yourself. But for many young people today, that just feels like an impossible dream. And I think really what's happened to young people sums up the changes that we need to make if we're going to, and that my party will make if we're elected to government, as I very much now hope we will be in the election on the 7th of May. And what we want to say to young people is this, that we want every young person who gets the grades in education to be able to go on either to higher education, to a university place, and we've said we will reduce the maximum tuition fees from £9,000, where they are at the moment, down to a maximum of £6,000. So we're going to reduce them by a third. Still quite a lot of money, but a good deal better than the position which is in place at the moment. Or, if they don't want to go on to university, then they should be going on to an apprenticeship. And we are going to guarantee that every young person who gets the grades will be able to obtain an apprenticeship place once they leave education as a young person. And you know, the number of young people in apprenticeships has actually come down in the past year. So for those who get the grades, that's what we're going to offer. For those who don't get the grades, the proposition is this, that they will be able to claim not job seekers allowance in the future, but a thing called the training allowance, and that will allow them to carry on in training and studying while they're looking for a job, to get the skills and perhaps the qualifications that they need to gain employment. And then at the end of 12 months, if they've been out of work for 12 months, we are again going to guarantee the offer of a job. And I think by doing those things, and we've set out exactly how we're going to pay for all of them, all of that is completely doable. I think we can transform the prospects for young people, because for far too many young people at the moment, the prospects don't look very bright. And actually, youth unemployment has been going up over the last few months, at a time when overall unemployment has been coming down. So I think there are some real, very pressing issues about the prospects for young people that the next government needs to address. So I'll be very happy to talk about any of that or anything else that anyone might want to raise. And let me just conclude by again thanking the Bilal Mosque very much for giving me and my colleagues this opportunity. Thank you for your hospitality to us today. It is a while since I've been here. I think the building, well, we just talked about building work, I think there's quite a lot of building work happened since I was last year, and I'm impressed by the progress that you've all made. Very happy to help with other plans that you may want to bring forward in the future, and looking forward now to a conversation about the issues that you're interested in and concerned about. Thank you very much.
Thank you.